Hello and welcome to Shifting Lanes Live, Shifting Lanes Garage. It is me, Gregson. I am back this week. I was gone last week. I had a vacation in Maine. And as you can see, I am now a real boy. I have a podcast mic. And hopefully you have a chef's kiss sound quality coming to your ears because this is going to be a lot better for you guys. Before this, I had been going through my little camera that you're looking at me. Hi, everybody. The mic in that thing. So it had a ton of echo. Now I have a real boy podcast. I'm a real boy. I'm Pinocchio of podcasting. No longer will you hear me through what sounds like a cardboard tube being hit by a 2-year-old with a stick. So Steve is already moist at this announcement. So welcome to the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining. Chad will be joining in just a minute. We have a lot of cool things to talk to you guys about, as we always do. Some interesting car news from Volvo, our favorite resident OEM here on this channel, at least for me, and probably how you guys know all of us is, Volvo stuff. We also have news from Toyota, and I believe there's one more that I've now already forgotten that I sent Chad earlier, and it is, yes, it is more Mercedes news about AMG and the V8. So stay tuned for those things. How is everyone doing tonight? Please come join us, come talk to us. I now have actual sound, an actual mic that you guys can talk to me and actually hear me normally. So hopefully it's not too loud and everything's all balanced out. And I actually have it on an arm. I'll show you, like a whole new setup here. Got the whole real podcast arm and everything. So I upgraded for you guys and made sure that we got some good sound quality coming to you. So it's the same mic that Chad has actually, but it's very good. And through your guys' support, this was possible. So, if you guys are in the Shift Squad, which is our support group here on Facebook, if you support us on YouTube by being a subscriber on there, and not just a subscriber, but also a member on there, it helps us to do things like this and give you better sound quality for these kind of things. I'm also going to use this mic to do a lot more shorts with actual good sound quality, to do more news for you guys in like short reel format. So if you want to see that, just hit us up on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. We put it everywhere. Steve asks, how was Maine? Maine was awesome. I have family in the Yarmouth, Portland, Falmouth area, York as well. So it's like that basically southern part of Maine where all the good stuff happens. Nothing in the crazy, northern stuff that's almost basically Canada. So Maine was good, but yeah, it's great to see. It's great to be back and to see you guys tonight because this is a direct thing of your guys' support. So thank you so much for supporting us, sending stars, which helps us to give you guys better quality stuff, obviously, and to give you better sound quality for me, which is great, which then in turn is basically just handed back to you for not being horrible sound from me and only getting good sound from Chad. So that's it. So yeah, Shift Squad, assemble. That's right. Thank you guys for your support. You guys are the best. And Anthony, that mic looks hot. It is. It's very cool. And I can mute it by doing this and turn the light off. And now you can hear me again. So a really nice little setup here, which is cool. So yeah, this is it's very cool. I do like this. When Chad gets back, we'll talk about cars. But how are you guys doing tonight? I want to hear from you guys. How you doing? I'm back. I'm excited to be back and chatting with you guys tonight. So yeah, and apologies for the technical difficulties earlier. We're trying to get streaming on our 3 biggest platforms. That's not the Shifting Lanes main channel. So Shifting Lanes Garage YouTube channel, Facebook, and we're trying to get Instagram actually lined up for this because Instagram is now our 3rd largest social media thing. It's up near 20,000 followers, which is pretty nuts. We've been sending all of our reels there, obviously, and posting them there, and a couple of them have gone like really nuts thanks to you guys watching. And they are just getting us new follows and new subscribers there, which is really cool. So Facebook's still the biggest, over 600,000 there. YouTube next largest, and then Instagram. So wherever you guys want to watch, you can watch from, and that's cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for what's going on with me. We'll wait until Chad gets back. Antoine, good to have you on the stream, as well as Steve, obviously. I saw Doug in there. Good evening, sir. Anthony. I think that's it for now, but we do have other people on the stream. So if you're watching and you don't want to comment, hello, you don't have to comment. That's cool. If you do want to comment, we want to talk to you. So please comment if you can. Give us topics to talk about. Do converse with us. The whole reason we do this is to talk to you guys and not be just another car podcast or car stream where we just talk about stuff and we talk at you and not to you. Whole reason we do this is to talk to you, and that is awesome. Steve started a new job. Saw that on some of your social media. Congratulations. Very nice. What are you doing now? Please put it in the comments for everyone to know. And his Jeep is a see you next Tuesday. So that's not great. What is up with your Jeep? I know you posted something about it. It was not great. Let us all know. Anthony, I'm fantastic. Just pulled Korean barbecue pork belly burnt ends off the smoker, and I'm in heaven. Holy mama, that sounds good. Please send me some. I will DM you my address. Antoine asks, did you go to the movies to see Gran Turismo movie, or has anyone in the chat have done that yet? I have not yet. Chad, what about you? Have you seen the new Gran Turismo movie? Oh, is it? I don't. I also have no idea when it comes out. Oh, nice. Let's see. I'm trying to look up the Friday, August 18th. So it's out this Friday. That's right.
Uh,
Interesting. So we will watch it eventually. And cool thing, Amelia Hartford's in that movie, who's another creator on YouTube, very big creator on YouTube.
I was gonna say
Builds her
she's
own cars.
another creator. It's like kind of she is to creation what we are to the guys who like clean the stadium afterward. Like
Hey, we create and put stuff on YouTube. We are creators just the same as she is. She just
she's
has a
just a
much larger budget and about 10 years ahead of us.
she's yeah. I was gonna say like she's significantly larger. Doug goes,
Uh,
I never heard of her. She's not important. Yeah, she just likes putting V8s and stuff, man. Like I don't know if you're into that.
she's awesome. She started out as like doing drifting and stuff. Or not actual drifting, but she she basically started to doing like LS swaps into her, I think, S13. She also had like a
And we lost Doug.
the reason the reason she got real famous. Doug, thank you for the 100 stars, sir. Appreciate it. Bigger budget, like the dollar for the bigger budget. Um, but yeah, she did LS swaps, but she famously had a Subaru. Um, what was it? It's the GC hatch, whatever that is.
I can be
It's
like
the early.
Greg.
Yes, yes. Get the microphone closer. Give in to the force.
I wish I.
But she famously had a Subaru that she put 5 engines in 2 years because they just kept exploding on her because Subaru engines, because why not? But that's sort of like how she got her start. I think she also did like some car modeling and stuff, but she's pretty major now. She's over 1 million subscribers. She's doing stuff with like DD. She's done stuff with DDE, Tavarish, all the big, a lot of the big boys. TJ Hunt, that dude in blue. And now she's getting into acting, and she's always wanted to be an actress or actor. And she is in the new Gran Turismo movie and been in a couple of Netflix films as well. So good for her. She's doing great.
She was on Sorted too. If you've ever seen
Sorted,
that show,
yes,
that
that's right.
YouTube show, which is a really cool
Yeah,
concept.
she's. Go ahead.
No, it's a really cool concept of like people bring their modified cars and then they kind of figure out which one's the best. Um,
Yeah,
and
she was
there's an S
also
550 on
on.
there as well, which mine is in a much larger state of build than theirs was. Just pointing that out. So like,
Yeah. So yeah, some of the cars on the show were not great. They
and
were
then there
okay,
was a
but some of them were
2,000
not.
horsepower Viper. So it's like,
Right. That is Sorted. That is the name of the show. That Viper right there. She's also hosting eBay Motors series. I forget what it's called, but she's on eBay Motors hosting it's like, some build series on their YouTube channel as well. So she's all over the place and she's all.
oh shit, I hit the wrong button.
What happened? Hello, we're back. Oh man, it's so funny. Chad goes to me before the stream happens tonight. Man, I feel really ready tech wise, and then we have a false start on Facebook. Can't connect to Instagram, and now we just had a blackout.
Uh huh. Yep.
So it's all good.
We have Aaron in chat watching Love Your Lives watching from New Zealand.
New Zealand. Get the hell out of here.
What year is it there? There's a time difference, right?
Do I look skinnier in New Zealand? I sure hope so.
You're
Oh
upside
my
down.
God.
Oh, sorry, bad joke.
I'm just upside down in New Zealand. Well, crap. Well, thank you for watching from New Zealand. Appreciate it and appreciate that support. That's amazing that we have people watching from all over the world. So, thank you so much, and we hope to keep you entertained and not be dumb, which we both kind of are.
No, that is the foundation on which Shifting Lanes was founded. You and I are dumb, and Hanson does the smart stuff.
Oh, Christian is over on YouTube. Sir Heffalump69. Nice. Look at that mic. It's Christian FYI, just on YouTube. I can't even see. Are you even in chat on? I cannot see you in chat on the feed there, but we'll make sure you're there. Just yeah. And we got Christian, so we got almost the whole gang.
Gang's all here, including Doug, who I don't know if you caught this, but we have anointed Doug as the leader of chat. All hail Captain Doug. I am
First ever chat mod.
could be a mod, but where Doug goes, the squad follows.
I like it. We'll give until it happens. We'll give Doug honorary mod status.
Yeah, anyone who mentions the LS is immediately permabanned.
LS.
Doug also says in chat, so the Gran Turismo movie takes YouTubers to play as actors. That would actually be a nice fourth dimensional wall break, in a sense, for the plot of the film.
That would actually be very cool if it was just YouTubers. But getting just YouTubers to act the way actors are supposed to would be probably a monumental task.
It would be a 2-hour movie of just 40 people plugging their merch. By the way, you can buy ours in the link in below. Link in the description.
That's right.
But at any rate,
Yes, let's talk cars. Gran Turismo movie aside, so that'll come out Friday.
but
Hopefully,
if you guys
we'll be
want to
able
see
to...
real racing, head to Island.
That's right.
We'll be there.
That's right. We'll be at Island Dragway in Independence.
Independence, Great Meadows.
Yeah.
Literally, if you Google only open race quarter mile in New Jersey, that's the one.
The only one left. Yeah. Urban sprawl. Yay.
Well, yes.
Take your racing off the streets. Gives them tracks. Take your racing off the tracks. We're getting it back with housing. Go F yourselves, all of you.
Hey, Flemington Speedway is a mall now. Um,
Yeah,
but yes, you can come see Greg and I live our lives 1/4 mile at a time. So,
that's right.
but at
Yes.
any
So
rate,
let's chat cars.
right. So there's some interesting stuff here. Um, I guess we'll start with the most boring, but it is of note to Greg, and that is the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser reportedly gets 27 miles per gallon combined.
Which is interesting in the fact that the Land Cruiser now doesn't have a V8 and a truck that big getting 27 combined, but that's like a Honda Accord. That's just like a Honda Accord MPG rating, which is pretty significant, quite frankly. I mean, it's a four cylinder hybrid, but I mean that layout and setup has been time tested at this point. It's been around for 20 plus years. So, it's something that Toyota does really well. You get sort of that torquiness from the electricity part of that, and you still get the ICE side of it as well to have better just, punchiness in mid-range and a little bit more top end. And it's a good combo, honestly. And seeing a Land Cruiser, just something called Land Cruiser, getting getting MPGs that are close to mid-sized sedans, pretty impressive, I gotta say. Like, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, companies have to figure out a way to get more economical, uh,
Right.
and they don't have a choice in the matter. That's just what it is. So, uh, this, these types of vehicles, if they're to exist, almost have to have some variation of hybrid power. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just a losing battle. Um,
Right. Totally is.
it is
Totally agree.
a 2.4 liter iForce Max powertrain, um, but it does.
Also, let's talk about the name iForce Max. First off, it
A little.
sounds a little ropey.
It's a little
Uh,
rapey.
it's a little rapey. It's definitely Predator-esque. But also something that's like iForce Max should not be on a 2.4 liter hybrid system.
Yes, especially when there's a six cylinder using the same name. Like, if the
Correct.
six cylinder
Yes.
is Max, this should just be iForce. Full stop.
Meh.
But I mean,
iForce meh.
they're saying a combined 465 pound-foot of torque, which is plenty
That's
in a
beefy.
vehicle in that size.
Yeah, that's beefy. That's probably good for 5 to 8,000 pounds of towing.
Yes and no. Keep in mind, a lot of towing is going to be internal combustion based, just because of the power density at which. Not to get overly nerdy, but like, there's a reason why. Like, I know. Let's just take everything about the Cybertruck and put it off to the side for a second. There's a reason why it can tow a lot for 50 miles when its range is supposed to be 400.
Right.
Right. You only have
Right.
so much energy, right? So you're going to
Yeah, no, that's why I
complete.
figured the electric part would get it going and the ICE would just keep it going.
Right. But like, again, like stop and go, like that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go out on a limb and say this is not the one they're gonna fit the like big tow package to, and that this is gonna be the one that that majority of big SUV buyers get. Meaning,
Yeah, I
they
agree.
might tow it like a little bass boat or something, like nothing major.
Right.
But that's the majority of the people who are buying these things, and of course you'll have like the Turbo 6 or whatever
Yeah.
for the bigger stuff. But I mean, it's a
Yeah.
handsome car. It's going to get decent mileage. I mean, this is probably, I don't want to say it's as much as like the SUV equivalent of the Supra, right? I don't think it's there, but I think there is a whiff
Yeah,
of
no.
it. But like, again, I wanted to point out one thing on this, and it is another company who have gone to the not round wheel wells, and there's a whiff of Land Rover Discovery and the new
Yes.
Santa Fe in this.
Yes, definitely. 100%. But I also think that's not a bad thing because all three of those look great. Like
Right.
I think this looks fantastic. Even with the round headlights, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I get why they did it. It's for heritage, and I think it looks cool. I would still get this one.
Well, I
New
think the
Santa Fe
round
looks
head,
great,
I think
and the new Discovery looks great.
I think the round headlights are quite literally sticking a round peg in a square hole.
Yes, that
It
is
doesn't follow
literally
any of the other design aesthetic, whereas the ones in the past had a rounder overall design and things of that
yes,
nature.
totally, yeah. It's more of just like, hey, we can make round headlights fit here for shits and giggles.
Yeah, and then like Mark or Anthony says, good torque is what's required for off road. 100%. Like the if you can
Yeah.
have, let me put it to you this way: in a perfect world, just like electric cars smoke ice cars on the drag strip, having four wheel independent throttle and braking and stuff that the electric can provide
Yeah.
is huge for off road.
Oh, 100%.
Again, it all boils down to it makes 465 pound-foot of torque for how long, right? Because if you're off-roading,
Yeah, sure.
you're not like, okay, again, is the average person taking this off-roading? Maybe a little bit, not much. So again,
Average person? No.
so
Honestly, no.
it's
Like
not
the
really a
majority of people that are
major,
going to buy these are going to be passenger princesses.
you know, pavement princesses
They're pavement
or
princesses. That's
pavement
the one.
princes. It's 2023.
That's right. Pavement people.
Pavement people of privilege. There it is.
The triple P.
Now it got
Gotta
dirty
love
again.
it.
So like again, for off road, it makes sense, but how long, right? Like again, if you're off
Right.
roading, you're not exactly driving. You're not making a lot of forward progress compared to being on the street. You're not really regenerative braking all that often, so it'd be interesting.
Right.
So Christian
Christian.
over. Isn't Dodge
Say it.
making an EV that's for
Cerebellum
towing?
69.
A lot of people are, but again, until you figure out energy density, it's a thing. You know, it's an electric car if the chassis is correct, as proved by Ford when they towed a train. I think it was like 1,000,000 pounds or something like that. An electric car, electric tows a lot. I mean, not for nothing. Your major train locomotives are hybrids running purely on electric, right? Like
Right.
they make the torque, they're good for the towing. It's just a question of how much is in the tank. And in a gasoline car, the effects of towing, you're going to get worse fuel mileage, but it's not the same as in there's so much more energy density in a gas tank than a battery. To electric cars' credit, they convert that energy into propulsion way better or more efficiently, I should say. But you can't get around the fact that there's only a certain amount in the quote unquote tank, and that's where. But
Right.
I mean, you are seeing multiple companies with electric 18 wheelers, semi trucks, and stuff like that, and everything. So I think a lot of that is going to come down to battery tech. The same battery tech that's going to say like solid state or sodium ion or a combination thereof that's going to give you twice the range is also going to do that to towing capacity. So instead of maybe 100 miles
Yeah.
and a usual 300, you might get 150, 200 miles. And then like, all that other stuff notwithstanding. Let's see here. Most buyers of Buyeri's off-road, like the Honda Fit commercial.
Virus.
Yes. Most people who overland or off-road are heading no more than 20 miles up the forestry or logging trail. I understand that side of it, right? It's not like someone's going a 200-mile trek and everything. So, like, but again, I'd be curious. That's all. I'm not going to sit here and say I know better than Toyota or that Toyota made a dud or crap all over the car. Because after all, it's Toyota. It's a Land Cruiser. They tend to get these right.
Yeah, right. I mean, Toyota knows what they're doing, but I do agree with Anthony on that. Like most people who overland, are, like they do trails like that, but I would even go a step further. Most people that make overlanders or build them or do whatever also use them as their dailies and do that sort of thing probably around 1 to 5% of the time with that actual car.
Not for.
Like it's
I'm not gonna lie.
it's
If I
it's
built an
not their
overlanding
main
rig, I'd
thing.
do
They're
it
not
because it looks
just
cool.
right.
And it would be nice
They're
to
not
like,
just driving through the woods constantly.
you know,
That's not a
and it would be
reality.
cool to have a rig to where like I could go camping and not have to do as much tenting, which is
Yeah,
big
no,
for
I
me.
hear you. It is good. It is good.
All right, Steve goes. What did I miss? These past 10 minutes, pizza guy got lost. I was out in the driveway on the phone with him to help with directions. Pizza is cold. Yeah, we were just talking
Oh
about the
man,
new Toyota Land Cruiser and its surprisingly good fuel economy. And best part about that is my personal opinion: pizza, good pizza always tastes better reheated. So you have that going for you.
also, you missed that we gave everyone on stream $1 million while you were gone. So sorry, man.
Where was mine?
Shh.
Um, Speaking of pizza, actually, um,
Oh, this is a good story. Yeah.
something interesting. This is not. I can't even spin this into any way, shape, or form car related.
Nope. It's just a good story.
It's just a really cool story. So, like over the past weekend, one of the like my local town, one of the my local town forum on Facebook or whatever. You know, you check there, people sell stuff, they ask for recommendations, new businesses, all this other sort of stuff. Well, we'll just call him a Karen. She just blasted this local pizza place. It was too greasy, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, all this other sort of like nonsensical stuff. So the pizza place was like, "Oh, okay," and then offered a deal where if you mentioned Greece that weekend, they'd give you, I think it was 25 or 50% off the pizza, and they had lines out the door. They did something like 12,000 total pizzas and stuff. Like the community rallied
Awesome.
together to help support this local business. Um, you know, it was just awesome to see because that I'm a big defender of small business and local small business, but like small businesses in general, because it's not just because Greg and I have several or any of that stuff. It's not a self-serving thing, but it like takes one a lot of courage to create something, takes a lot of hard work to make it successful, and then you know you're working a ton and you're not getting your 23, 30, $40 an hour, right? It's you're busting your butt, you're making do, and you've created something. And like a pizza place brings pizza together. We like to think shifting lanes entertains and brings people together. You know, all these other types of small businesses that are out there trying to help, quote unquote, the little guy and stuff like that. Because like I remember a
Right.
time in our town where we had a local mom and pop pharmacy slash grocery store slash kind of like a general store, right? You know, we used to have two in my hometown. In a local sporting goods store, and a local this, and then the WalMarts, the Sports Authorities, the Dick's Sporting Goods, all these stuff slowly came in, and then it not only nuked those similar types of businesses in that town, that when like Sports Authority came in years ago, it nuked sporting goods stores for like 7, 8, 9, 10 towns in the surrounding area. It was so like I don't really think anything of it at the time, but like now, like there's an element of small town America that's missed because of these big stores. And don't get me wrong, guy had saw a business opportunity, took it, did their thing. Walmart succeeded, Sports Authority not so much.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
No, but I mean, it's just like so like these small business like little pizzerias, little local
Yeah.
restaurants, like stuff like that, like even down to like a local printing company. The list goes on and on and on. Like being able to support those types of businesses, I think are huge because you know, one, it
Yeah.
takes a ton to do that, and two, it's you just don't get that small business flair at these bigger stores and or
No,
experience.
you
So
don't.
like to see that over the course of this weekend and to see the community band together on something as silly as pizza was like something so
Hey,
cool.
pizza's never silly.
Right, but I mean compared to other issues of the day, it was nice to see like a community
Sure.
come together for that and not, you know, something else that we've all been just beaten over the head with. Um,
Something in Washington, perhaps.
Steve goes, I don't want a hybrid model. To each their own. Christian corrects Doug, juice, not whiskey. Doug goes, I'm still on my first glass of juice. Steve goes,
Second glass of juice. Let's go.
I'm about,
Catch up.
Steve goes, shifting lanes pizzeria. That is something I would
Yes.
actually love to do, except like
Shifting pizzas.
except where I live, the pizzeria per capita is insane.
Yeah. There's probably one every mile
Like I could
on average.
legitimately go 5 miles in any direction and pass at minimum 10 pizzerias. So like
Yeah,
it's
accurate.
a tough avenue to get a tough thing to get into. As much as I
North
would love to
Jersey,
do it.
one of the places where opening a pizzeria will probably succeed, but you're going to have a bajillion competitors.
Yeah. Most of which you could throw a rock and hit.
Correct.
But this also brings me up to like we were talking small business, great ideas, smart people and stuff. I used to summer or not summer, but I used to go on vacation down to the Outer Banks in North Carolina since I was like 14 until like 2018ish, 2019ish. Still want to go back, by the way. But we go there every summer. Friends of mine had a house right on the beach. It was awesome. But the pizza down there was terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. It was like literally toasted Wonder Bread, something masquerading as marinara sauce, and
Yeah,
cheese product.
it ain't Jersey pizza or New York pizza. Not
So,
the same.
same thing. The bagels were basically circular bread.
Yeah.
So there was a guy who like a retired cop or something who moved down there, and basically the simplest version of it is the reason why pizza up here tastes a certain way is not like you could use the same ingredients down south and it won't taste the same. It's because of the water that we use up here, that nice dirty northeast water. So this guy would get all his ingredients from food suppliers up here, get the water. He would get a water shipment every week, and he'd make Jersey style bagels and Jersey style pizza. And okay, the pizza was like 25-ish bucks, 25 $30. So it was a little on the expensive side compared to what we're used to. But he couldn't.
But it was good.
But it was so good. Same thing for like the breakfast sandwiches with the bagels and everything. It was
Yeah.
just so good. And it just goes to show you with like, if you
Right.
told that idea to some random person, you're like, you're insane. You're going to ship water?
All food is all about the ingredients. Literally. That's all food is ingredients thrown together. When you have the right ingredients, everything tastes good. And Doug says, when I was in Arizona, all the pizza sucked. Yes, because Arizona makes their pizza with sand.
And
It's awful.
cactus.
I've had it. It's disgusting. It's gross.
Um, Anthony goes, you're not putting a half a gallon of fuel in a super yacht when you buy local. I don't think I care
Accurate.
about super yachts unless it's mine. Although I'm not really a big water person. Steve goes, we live
I
in
bought this on Amazon. Sorry. I had to.
HyperX.
There's no local podcasting mic shop near me. Apologies.
I mean, there's certain stuff, but like, I don't know, man. Like, whenever I can, I do. Let me put it to you that way.
Same.
Right?
Same.
Like,
Yeah. There's no camera or electronics shop nearby that's small enough to one, have these, and two, be the price this was.
well, that's the biggest thing. That's what killed those local shops was they don't have the buying power. Which
Correct.
another side tangent. The business my uncle used to be a CEO of way too long to describe what it does, but it deals with a lot of like manufacturing, engineering, a lot of that sort of stuff, and all elements of it. So one of the like many things they did. I mean, we're talking about quarterly meetings with some subcommittee at Congress, down to literally if say Greg owned a machine shop, I owned one, Doug owned one, Steve had one, but we were so small that we didn't really need a lot of material to do what we were doing. But if we could order in bulk, we could slim our costs down. Well, one of the things
Right.
they did was help identify these like-minded businesses or similar businesses and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be the middle. We're going to place the minimum order or the order for you guys. You funnel it into us, and we don't like they don't take a profit or anything on it. And then this way, these small machine shops and all this other sort of stuff can get the material at a lesser cost and compete with some, big company or something like that because their costs are down, which I thought was pretty cool. Yes, Steve,
Yeah.
pizza places are everywhere here. But I guarantee you this, our toppings, man, they would be the richest, most flavorful, moistest toppings you could get on any pizza.
Stop it.
Doug goes, the one local pizza owner curses at customers on the phone when they're quote unquote idiots. But there are so many customers that it doesn't hurt if he burns a bunch. And as a side benefit, he doesn't have as many idiot customers. I mean, here's the bottom line, right? Like, if there's a pizza place I will always go to because the people are awesome, the food's good, right? And like, I don't really, people are going to be idiots and people are going to complain. Like, guess what? This is America and it's still a free country. If you don't like the way something tastes at a restaurant, top tip, go somewhere else. Spend your money there.
Yeah.
And if you really think that place is terrible because their food tastes terrible to you, then capitalism will take over.
Right.
So just,
Exactly.
there's no reason for it. And anyway. Chris, just do it here. Ours went out of business. Sand pizza. Antoine goes, you guys got a lot of competition for pizza, according to the guys like Dave Portnoy, who says Connecticut, specifically New Haven, has the best pizza ever in the country. I didn't know New Haven had a style of pizza.
I don't think they do. I think it's just a really good shop.
It's really good, and Portnoy likes the bar style pizza with the thinner crust, and New Haven, that's kind of
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah.
But
If you look at the video he did on that, it's like a thinner, not like a wood fire kind of thin crust, but it's like a bar pie
It's-
basically.
yeah.
And some bar pies are really freaking good,
yeah,
but most of them are bad. But when you nail it with a bar pie, everyone's gonna want one because they're always good. And apparently that shop did that.
Christian over on YouTube goes, local tradesmen I think are important, not just because I am one or anything. 100%. There's another thing. That's another tangent I could go down on college versus trade school. You could go to 2 years, learn a trade, be an apprentice for anywhere from 2 to 6 years, learn how to run a business, and in 10 years,
Yeah.
arguably have your own business, whether it be as an electrician, a contractor, blah, blah, blah. It goes down the list, a plumber, whatever. Like, and you'll be making more money faster and paying off less student debt. Like, it's just, you just got to get your hands dirty. Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs fame is like huge into this stuff. And I love reading some of his stuff because like, how many, I mean, Greg and I are both guilty of this, but how many people do you know who were either went to college for the following: some form of business, marketing, finance. Let's just go business, marketing, management. That's all kind of lumped into one degree. Communications or liberal arts. And then the other half wanted to be teachers, especially from our generation.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the funniest thing about Penn State is whenever any of the girls, and it was specifically girls, like whenever they just gave up on their major, they're like, I guess I'll be a teacher. And I'm like, that's not the reason to be a teacher, you schmuck. Like, you should actually want to be a teacher. Because I guarantee you, half the people that like went to school for teaching at Penn State that graduated in 2006 that I knew that are probably teaching now don't want to be teaching those kids. And I'm like, you should have done something else. Don't fall back on teaching. That's the worst thing to do. We need teachers that actually want to teach, not you just saying, no, I guess.
I mean,
Like,
it
these
is.
girls basically were just like thinking of teaching as like getting your real estate license. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's obnoxious.
I mean, a couple of points here. Number one, not recently, but within our lifetime, um, that was one of the fallback professions for specifically women. I'm not trying to sound sexist or nothing, but I'm talking 20, 30, probably 30 or so years ago. Like,
Yeah.
it was, again, I've mentioned this on stream before. My mother, who was born in 1947, when she graduated high school, she didn't go to college. She didn't go to a trade school. She didn't do any of that sort of stuff. She went to finishing school. If you want to know what that is the school that the girls in A League of Their Own went to for like elocution and stuff. The walking with books on your head, the learning how to cook, the learning how to take care of children, like all that
Yep.
outdated mentality.
That's the way
and
it
stuff.
was.
But that's the way it was. And like I said, teaching was that profession. Not for
100%.
nothing. Arguably a slightly better, but not by much reason to get into teaching myself. My original career path was I wanted to be a teacher because that kept me in sports, i.e. a coach. Like
Right.
I knew at some point the professional sports dream would end. I didn't realize I'd get as close as I did before ruining it by skiing. But I knew that was going to eventually end, so I wanted to stay in sports. Coaching seemed like a really good avenue for that. But my dad wasn't a huge fan of it. He was like, okay, go to county, get an associate's, and then if you still want to do this, you're free and clear to do it when you transfer. And that was one of the pieces of foresight that he had that I don't know if it was like intentional or he just saw that my uncle was a teacher, hated it, became an engineer, and then highly successful. But like, I could not imagine being a teacher now, or a coach for that matter.
Right.
It's crazy to think that the way Greg and I were raised was the quote unquote old school, because the old school version of that was, like, you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
It's like you learned not to do something today.
Yeah.
But like, I got my butt whooped once or twice, deservedly so, because I was.
Oh man, once or twice. That's nice. Mine was like literally every week.
Greg, my dad had a weapon called the Chad Whacker that he took pride in decorating.
Good. Okay, so
it got
right, cool.
use. The funniest thing,
my dad's weapon was his hand.
One of the funniest things about this was a paint stirrer for like a 5-gallon bucket, so it was like 3.5 feet long. When my sister came along, the Katie Whacker was quite literally it was a joke. It was just a joke to like, Katie's the princess, blah blah blah. But it was the regular like paint stirrer that was like this big. it's like, I mean,
it was the old school pick your own switch, where yours was the big stick like this thick, and hers was the twig this thick. Yeah.
That's a common misconception, my friend, because you forget I grew up with an Italian grandmother and a grandmother who was the other grandmother who was raised by Italians. When they told you to go out and pick your own switch, you would think you wouldn't want to come back in with the stickball bat, right? But my grandmothers, and this was a talent that I'm pretty sure they honed over my aunts and uncles, my father, my mother, whatever. But you would come back with the thin one, and they wouldn't phase them. You'd be like, "Sweet, I'm on easy street." You think that the first time.
Oh no, it's like a whip.
It was a whip, and though that hurt way more than the. But
so you got to find the real dry dead stick, so it just cracks in half.
Oh, but I would get it twice as bad if I brought back quote unquote a bad one.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
You haven't lived until you've walked in the kitchen during a family event while your grandmother's cooking, and the men weren't allowed in the kitchen, and you don't see it, but you hear the cooking spoon just go by your
Yeah.
ear.
Get out.
But but yeah, like obviously my parents weren't that extreme, but like it was, hey, you acted a fool. You either got ran, you did push-ups. It was like,
Right.
don't. We're here to do we're here to do quote unquote a job. We're here to work.
Yeah.
Put the work in, everything will be fine. If not, they're going to be a punishment. And like, God forbid you did that today. Now I understand there are some coaches that take it way too far, but like I watched. This is more than a few years ago. I watched the Parents Association for my local high school run a perfectly good coach, a guy I knew as a really good guy. He was just a little bit of an old school coach who didn't want to play the, oh, let's sit down with the parents committee and talk about who should start. It's like, no, if your kid puts in the work and they put in the effort and they're good enough, they're going to play. If not, they're not. It's just the way it is. And they ran him out of town. It was so sad.
Yeah. All right, let's move on because we've spent a lot of time on small business. Not that that's a bad thing, but
Mercedes
cars.
making donations to local small businesses. I think that's our next topic.
Okay, nailed it. I like it.
But speaking of Mercedes, this is
Yes.
sad news. They're not bringing back the V8 for the C63 or E63, despite reports to the contrary. There's no confirmation yet on what engine will replace, although their new straight six, turbocharged straight six, is a contender.
Yeah. And if you haven't been following that whole saga, basically Mercedes a couple of years ago was like, we're not having the V8 anymore, downsizing, yada yada yada. But they still were saying that they would do a hybrid 4 and it would be just as potent, which again, hybridization, we talked about it earlier with the Land Cruiser. Hybridization is something that is time tested at this point in the car realm. 20 years in cars is like 100 in the real world. So like the going to hybrid is definitely something that would keep AMG in the performance realm, obviously. But they then backtracked on it last week and said, oh, you can still get a V8. And now this week they're saying you can't. So I'm not entirely sure what to believe anymore, because whatever you think about the whole EV thing and whatever, there's a lot of reports coming out that like Ford has lost billions of dollars on their EV development because of how slowly it's been to adopt everything. And I'm like, it's almost like I've been saying this on stream for the last year and a half. Like, it's not going to be this overnight thing. It's going to take 50 to 100 years for EVs to even be close to that. That aside, I think Mercedes is now sort of, I think all manufacturers honestly are having this sort of, nexus point moment of like, do we keep producing these ICEs, or do we give in to the politicians and the bean counters? So now it's like, what do we do here? But I really think, and I foresee AMG kind of going back to V8s at some point and letting Mercedes normal kind of just do their thing with EVs and what have you. Those that buy AMGs, I think, would be very happy with that.
So you raised some interesting points that actually, believe it or not, provoked thought in my brain space.
Wait, I made you think? This is new. What's happening?
I know it hurts, man.
It's the mic. It has to be the mic.
It hurts. The pain is real. But what you could sit here and like when you see companies like Ford, and you see there are other companies who are like I think GM's in a similar boat. When you see these companies, like people were supposed to buy these and we were supposed to have a waiting list. The fuck?
Yeah.
It could just be that we have reached for 2023, more than halfway through the year, it could just be that we've reached the saturation point for electric vehicles. Market share is going to be, what is it, 10 or 50? I forget what the market share is, but it's not unimpressive, to be 100% honest.
I think it was 11% last time I checked. I will look right now.
But like maybe 11%, for example, just happens to be the, you know, 1 out of 10 cars sold being electric is kind of where this has all normalized, right? And that maybe, just maybe, an all electric pickup truck wasn't the best idea.
Yeah.
You know, well, like we talked about earlier, like it's not going to be able to tow. Okay, so it has a frunk in addition to the bed, but
Yeah.
and it's
It is
fast.
cool. It's cool and fast. There's
It's
no
cool.
doubt about
I
it.
mean,
Like, it's cool.
apart from the obvious tie-in with the name to electric, Lightning, I think Lightning was a great name for it because it's very much like the Lightning of old.
Yeah.
It's a street truck. And now it can go
Right.
off road a little bit, right? But whatever. And it just maybe, Mercedes having this. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me people actually love our V8? Go
Right.
on. And it's a reason. Here's the bottom line, right? Like the cool thing about the C63 and the E63 was that you felt like you were getting that AMG GT in a car you could drive daily, have a family with, etc. You felt like you were getting that DNA in your everyday car. Now,
Yep.
when I say everyday car,
Yep.
it's obviously an everyday car for people of substantial means. But like,
Yes.
but people like being that V8 sounds rowdy. So like for us, like an E63 wagon would probably be a really good choice for you as a family car. Just saying.
Yeah. I that's one of the ones I would get rid of this for. It's that next level up. It's that E63, Audi RS6, and now apparently there's an M5 wagon coming to the States. So
So
all probably around 100K, but
and here's
or
the other
even
thing.
120, 30K, but
Here's the other thing. The Mercedes V8 is not a giant lump anymore. It's a 4-liter V8 with turbos. I'm
yeah.
sorry, if you tune that correctly, and you got variable vane turbochargers, you're gonna have variable valve control, you're gonna have all the bells and whistles, direct injection, all this other. You can make a 4-liter V8 be quite efficient.
That's true. I mean, just look at, different car, obviously, but look at what Corvettes do. Corvettes on the highway routinely get 30 plus mpg. I'll take a V8 front engined GT sports car with 30 mpg highway literally every day of the week. That is just wins all around.
Yeah. And here's the thing with the downsizing of engines and why like hybrid is a necessity to have a 2.4 liter engine in a Land Cruiser. Just to get the mass of the vehicle itself moving, you require
Right.
X amount of energy, right? Like
Yeah.
to take a body at rest and put that body into motion requires energy, not just to go 100 miles an hour, but to go from 0 to 10. To break that inertia takes energy.
Correct.
And if you have a small little piddly engine that's not on boost, you're going to get crap gas mileage regardless.
Right.
There's a formula to all of this to where you need a certain amount of torque to where the engine's not overworking itself or you're pinning the engine versus that. So here's the thing. The rumor has it that it's going to be the straight 6 or a turbocharged 4-cylinder. I'm sorry, but AMG ceases to exist to me outside of the GT or whatever its replacement is. If it's a 4-cylinder, forget it. I don't care how much they got. I don't care how much power they're getting out of a 4-cylinder. It doesn't matter to me. That's not what AMG is. If you want to save,
If they do a 4-cylinder hybrid like they have been, then that's fine to me because literally, I know it's an 8-cylinder hybrid, but the McLaren P1 is a hybrid. Like, if it's a hybrid, I'm in because hybridization makes cars stupid fast, and that's the whole point of AMG is to make cars stupid fast. So like, if it's a hybrid, I'm in. But if it's just a turbo 4 or like something like that, No, I'm with you. I think that's dumb.
Uh,
The
Again,
six is in the six is interesting, like you said. That's very intriguing.
I mean, like most of us here know that we have a soft spot for um, straight sixes here at Shifting
Literally,
Lanes.
right there.
Um,
What is that?
I'm just trying to add a graphic. It just happened. Um, but
Yes.
like straight sixes can sound epic. Case in point, your car, Supras, Skylines,
Right.
an E46 M3 with the right exhaust sounds great, just not with the raspy exhaust.
Yeah.
My IS300 sounded insane as an NA straight six. Steve,
Yeah.
at no point have I ever talked shit about your straight six. In fact, every time you bring it up, I say it's one of the strongest off-roading motors ever made. Wait, Greg, drop your new mic. um,
That's as far as it
so
goes.
like you can make that cool. It's just I don't know. When you picture an AMG, for me, when I picture an AMG, I the sound is as big a part as anything else. So they have to nail it. But if the six cylinder, I can be like, okay, straight six, rear wheel drive wagon, you have my attention, right? Um, but like the
Yeah.
four cylinder, man, like I'm sorry, that four cylinder is never gonna sound good
Yeah.
compared to a six or an
Yeah.
eight. Um,
We know, Steve. It's all good. We only rag on your car because the rest of the car is a piece of crap. The engine's good. Just put that engine in something else.
all right.
Whoa, what is happening?
Don't ask questions.
Oh no.
Just continue talking. Everybody, pins and needles, waiting for you to say something brilliant.
I'm just gonna sit here and look awkwardly, deeply and longingly into the camera. Yes, this is my deep and longing face. What is
I'm
happening?
just messing with graphics, so just continue the conversation so it doesn't actually show up on the screen.
There's literally no graphics right now. It's
It's
just
almost like
me.
it's almost like I'm doing that on purpose.
I know. After you drop that YouTube logo in, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna do something again. I like how all these streams are now just devolving into you now
I'm not
because
actually.
you have
I'm not.
control over everything.
Believe it or not, this is not me messing with you at this particular
Oh,
moment in
excellent.
time.
I, all right, then I approve. All sorts of craziness happening.
At any rate,
Wow, nice,
um,
looking good. Wait, what's in the middle there?
it's in the middle where
I don't know. I can't tell.
you have me, you,
The middle
our
at the bottom.
our
It looks
top
like there's like
our top star senders for both. Uh, Although the top one isn't correct, it should be Doug. But our top star senders for both daily, monthly, and 90-day. And then underneath
nice.
you, it says check out our latest video on YouTube. Hence why I was adding the YouTube logo. Why I was doing that now, I have no idea. With the picture, with the cover pic from the most recent YouTube video.
Ah, nice.
But that being said, Greg, I'm going to step aside for 1 second. Antoine had things to
Cool.
say, so why don't you read that, and I'll be back
Yes.
momentarily.
Yes. We're gonna go back just a little bit and talk about other things that was on that you guys have chatted about. Let's see. Anthony, that's exactly why SPA Volvos don't get notable fuel economy. Correct, because they don't get notable fuel economy. I own one. They get not great fuel economy at all. Um, Orion, welcome to the stream. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're still around until the unibody frame gets wrapped, it gets warped, and then Camaros suck. What? I don't follow that at all. I don't think we've talked about Camaros at all this stream. But if Camaros get unibody frame warping, then they do suck. Let's see. Antoine, I'm going to be honest in my opinion when I think ICE defeated. I think when ICE defeated EVs in the early years, long before we existed, ICE is going to do it again in this generation of EVs in our existence. North American infrastructure will not be able to support it between Canada, the US, and Mexico, probably even in all of South America too. Europe is different. They can have it because of their Euro 7 emissions and their infrastructure on their continent and countries, but in North America and South America, it's not justifiable. That I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that. I have you seen the electronic circuit systems in the UK? They are absolute hot garbage. It is not good, and there are a lot of old systems in the UK. Um, it is in certain countries, yes. Germany, Netherlands, yes, but in a lot of in a bunch of other European countries, that has just like a lot of old tech. You know, the UK being one of them. Um, it's not great, quite honestly. Um, so I looked it up. EV market share is at 18%, right? And EV market share is growing, but there hasn't been any strain on really any grids due to it because what they're doing is they're adding them in smart places where sure, if everyone got an EV at home, plugged in all at the same time, everything would go haywire. But the likelihood of that happening like right now or even in the future is practically zero because you have EV charging stations just like gas stations. You have EV chargers at people's place of business. You have EV chargers that are going to be at traditional gas stations eventually as well. You have, ooh, there's a car pulling in right over here. You can kind of see it. Um, there's there's other things that they're doing. So like the strain on the grid is definitely going to be there, but I don't think it's as widespread as a lot of people think it's going to be. Like a lot of people think that, EVs are everyone's going to plug in at night and charge them, where you don't have to do that. You like if I had a Tesla and had 300 miles of range, right? I'm not bringing it home every single night and charging it because that would be the same as me bringing my car home and fueling it. Like nobody is going to do that. I guarantee you that. It is, and it's different than a phone. Like everyone sort of plugs their phone in at night or whatever, or throughout the day. No one's going to come plug their car in every single night unless they're doing 100-mile, one way or round trips in a 300-mile range car. In which case, you're probably going to need a lot faster of a charger than what a home charger can kind of offer you. So like more of like a Tesla supercharger. So the strain on the grid, I think, is at least right now very overblown, but it's definitely a concern that exists, and it should be, and it is being considered by all these companies in the future. The thing is, like, again, to my point that I've sort of really hammered home and just said a million times on this stream, it's gonna take 50 to 100 years for EVs to even get to that point, to give it that true strain on grids. And I don't think it's ever gonna get there. I really don't. I think ICE is going to continue. I think synthetic fuels are going to continue. I think hydrogen is going to be the big thing in the future. So like I don't see this happening as big enough a big enough worry. So the grid thing, sure, but it's not one of those things where I think it has to be like talked about in terms of like, oh, infrastructure can't handle it. Like the infrastructure can handle it just fine right now, and they're expanding it right now. Like if it wasn't able to be expanded, they wouldn't, because then it would take away from literally every other hard paying customer that they do already get money from. So that's gonna be more of it behooves them to make sure that they get their customers money first, as opposed to just expanding for the sake of expanding, if you know what I mean. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer or anything, but I don't see that to be the biggest sort of issue, at least in the next 1 to 2 decades. Let's see. Batteries in cars. Where'd that go? Batteries in cars can be part of the solution. No reason you can't charge slow at home overnight and then sell to your employer during the day, reduces strain on the grid. That's a good point too. You're right. But I still think that no one's going to come home every single night and then just and charge every time. I just don't see it. I mean, if it was me, I had again, if I had a Tesla and I had 300 miles of range and I only had a 10-mile commute each way, you're only dropping your battery percentage by 5 to 20% depending on traffic every day. I'm charging up every couple of days. I'm not doing it every night because one, that'll ruin the batteries a lot faster, and two, it's just unnecessary. So, and you're saving money by not doing it. So, I don't know. We'll have to say. We'll have to see. Um, oh God, you guys now I just realized you guys have been talking about me. You should grow your beard out, Gregson. Greg's had a lot of juice tonight. I haven't. This is only my second. Now I'm gonna have a lot of juice. Now I'm going for my third. Um, but yes, he should rock a beard. I do rock a beard. I've had a beard for like the last like 8 years. It's been a while. Should I mean, growing it out, I don't know. I'm not a big beard fan, quite frankly. At least on me. I like it on other guys just because other guys can rock it a lot better. I don't know. Not a big fan of the big bushy beard on me. So this is about as long as it'll probably ever get, quite frankly. And then Antoine, last question. Hey, have you been paying attention to the G82 M2 CS? No, not at all, because the M2 is wretched and disgusting. And what on earth am I looking at? This looks like really bad Halloween decorations. Chad, are you there? What is happening?
My safety gear. It's my safety gear, brother.
Oh, I know.
I don't
But
know.
it's
Figure
hilarious
we're
that
going to
it's
the
just sitting
track.
there
All
and
of the
you're
stuff
not.
I need to be legal. Ish.
I only need one of those things, and it's the top.
Oh, got the helmet, which should keep my brain healthy. And then
Yes.
because of the aftermarket boost, I was going to put this on, but this is the hottest freaking garment I have ever owned. Which is ironic because it's supposed to keep fire out.
It's like, it is a fire jacket, so it's made of fire.
Yeah, it is warm. I was doing for the thumbnail. If you look at the thumbnail on YouTube for tonight's stream, I was wearing this and everything, and in the maybe 5 or 10 minutes that it took me to get the requisite like screenshots and stuff, I was drenched. Friday is going to be sweaty because I was just thinking about it. It's like, well, you get in line, move up. Oh, I have to wear it, and then do the quarter mile, and then drive back. And like, I can't get out of my car at the end of the quarter, take it off.
Yeah.
Well, they do it to unpack chutes, but at any rate, but yeah, that's what I needed to be legal at the track. Just because aftermarket boost, and then like it's an NHRA rule. If
Yeah.
you have aftermarket boost of any kind, even on a car that came from factory with boost. So if let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you had a car with a turbo, but you put a bigger, like say you have a Supra, and you put a big single on it, you have to run a fire jacket, even though your car from factory came with a turbo. But if your car from if you're running the OEM turbo, case in point, Greg's car, you don't have to run fire gear.
Yeah.
And I think there was another rule that I really should have paid more attention to. Something about going over 100, or something about trapping over 120 miles an hour.
That's right. Anthony, Chad, my dude. Greg got a mic that doesn't suck. Your chair is next. 200 stars. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that contribution to Chad's horrific chair.
Aren't you sitting in a lawn chair?
No, it's a foldable chair.
Like a camping
I'm
chair.
not putting a good chair in my garage. Get out of here.
And that's why no one will remember your name.
No, this is why people will remember my name. My wonderful mic.
You mean the mic I have been using since stream 1?
That nobody sees. Get it in frame.
Exactly. Nobody sees it. That's the whole
Yes,
beauty
but
of it.
now I have superior sound quality because it's directional.
I, mine is as well, you dunce.
Yeah, but it's not as close or as cool.
God, I hate you.
Okay, be entertaining. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Oh, nope. Definitely don't want that. There we go. uh Doing this with all the stuff I've added recently definitely gives me a greater appreciation for like production teams who have like more than one camera and element to do at any given moment. But yeah. So below me, right about here, you see that's our most recent video on YouTube. If you haven't gone and checked it out, I highly recommend you do so because I made a mistake in it. And some of you who are in our who are in our shift squad over on Facebook will know that I thought I got the wrong tires. As it turns out, R triple eight Rs, Toyo R triple eight Rs, the most, from what I've been told, the most track focused tire. That is still a street tire. Well, let's just do this. Let's do desktop. And so, like, again, this is the most recent video, but you're not going to hear anything. Go watch it. But like, if you notice, like the tread on the front points the direction the car is going. Makes sense, right? But if you go, and it just verifying that it is the outside, but if you go and you look at the passenger side, it's facing the opposite direction. And I thought this was a mistake. I was like, nobody does this. Like, what the heck is this? Because these tires are also noisy as hell. So I thought something was wrong. And I was like, oh, the tread pattern, man, that's got to be it. Turns out this is how they design them. Like, my buddy who does drag racing, one of our friends over who Blue Sky built their Fox body. You've seen some reels about it, called War Admiral. His car is making way more power than mine, and his tires are like this. So this is how the tires are supposed to be. I'm going to be going in depth, doing a full vlog on that, but it's just it's I learned something every day. Like, I did not think that was right, but the upshot is I now don't have to wait for tires to come in. We can go to the track. I have much stickier rubber. I have wider rubber. And I am very interested to see what it does. I was a little worried about spinning. And to be fair, I wasn't too worried about spinning from a sense of make for good content. You know, stock-ish Polestar beats Mustang in quarter mile. Why? And it's because the idiot behind the wheel. But more importantly, Island preps their track, but it's not crazy prepped from that sense. So it's as close as you can get to a no prep with actually having prep on there. So it's slippery. So throttle management was going to be a big thing for me. It still probably will be. But I thought it would be pretty interesting to see me struggle while Greg just points and clicks, right? Now, hopefully, I should be a little more pointier and clickier. Don't get me wrong. This thing's not going to, come close to dead hooking. It's not going to be like watching, on TV where it's just clutch out, boom, and we're out. Uh, but I should hopefully grip a lot harder now. And I'm looking forward to it because one of the things I enjoy about drag racing is more than hunting down ETs, more than winning races and any of that sort of stuff. I love the chase. Some of the most fun I had is when I butchered the launch, but the Mustang carried me through and I caught up. Like that's fun to me. And I should be able to do a lot more catching up now with the power I am now putting down. So again, Island Dragway. One of the guys who's in chat I know is going to be here. A couple of my friends might be there. You guys are more than welcome. I know some of you live a distance, so that's understandable. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the question is, will Greg get into the 12s?
No,
No, no
but
confidence.
hopefully yes. I'm hoping yes. And it'll have nothing to do with me because my car's idiot proof. You just turn off traction control, plant foot, go. Very easy. And I'm not going for reaction times. I'm just going for ETs, so it's even easier. So, um, once the lights go out, I just wait a second and boom, done. We'll see. I'm not sure. It feels faster, but I'm not sure if it's a 12-second car. If it's not, I think if it's not a 12-second car, I think an intercooler and piping will do the trick.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I think that will then open it up to get enough air to the turbo to actually be able to push just that tiny bit more through.
yeah, and I mean, with your car, with what we watched on the dyno, um, temp, temp, air temp is massive. Um,
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
still
The
maintain
moment I get to island, I'm opening my hood.
I still maintain, and I know it's your daily, and I know the idea of a bigger back housing or whatever. Not even for the power gains, but for the free flowing and the efficiency of it. And believe it or not, when you're generating that much back pressure, it gets a lot hotter. So
Yeah.
it would help you a ton. Just it's like putting headers on an NA car.
Right.
Just move that air, and uh, intercooler intercoolers are great. It's just you got to be moving for it to work.
Right.
So,
Right.
uh, but no, man. I mean, I think some tasteful mods, and the car will be in the 12s, daily drivable, and not so modified that you have to worry about it on like
Yeah.
a day-to-day basis. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
Antoine goes, drag racing might help you be great at outrunning the cops if you get stupid on the roads. Not the
Yeah.
intent.
No, street racing is bad. Don't do that.
Not even that. Just
But
what's the
yes, I
fastest
know.
car in the world right now? It's not.
Chiron.
It's not faster than radio.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, cops like, well, I can't catch him. Hey, next town over. you
Yeah,
know,
right.
you
Right.
know. And like, not for
Radio
nothing. Like
or
I have fun on the roads. I'm not driving. Yeah, I'm not driving well, an FM till it gets to the cell tower.
right.
I have fun on the roads, but I'm not maxing out the car by any stretch of the imagination.
No. It's there for when you want it and have fun. The end.
And not for nothing, it's you know, my car's not subtle at all.
No.
You know,
Nor
it's
should it be.
you know, it's rowdy. It makes all the right noises,
Yeah.
but it's not crazy difficult to pick it up out of a lineup.
Right.
So, um, Mark or Anthony goes, just pick up another turbo and send it to Nick.
That's true. Yeah, Nick Knight over. No, I don't know what his company is called, but
Knight
um,
Industries. If it's not Knight Industries, he's failed.
That would be awesome. I'm sure someone has that somewhere. Um, I think was it Duke City Turbos or is that someone different? I'm not sure. But yeah, Nick Knight knows what he's doing. He messaged me literally the other day, and he was like, I think I put like a teaser up, or he put a teaser up of the dyno, and he's like, he just sends me a message. So you tired of being slow yet? Like that is exactly what someone who builds turbos should be messaging people.
I mean, are you tired of being slow yet?
No, my
Um,
car's quite quick as it is.
Antoine goes,
NM Turbo Co. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that.
Antoine goes, if
Um,
Greg gets a 12.9, that's more than sufficient.
yeah. I mean, for this car, yes. For other cars, no.
I mean, when I'm sitting here talking about like different types of mods and things like that, it's just to make the engine breathe a little bit better. I'm not sitting
Right.
here saying Greg goes big turbo and is gunning for 800 horsepower. That's not it at all. I mean, if he could put
No.
down 400 to the wheels, that's plenty of power and stuff. It's just the way a car delivers
Oh yeah.
power, and like not for nothing, small turbos are great at spooling up quick, giving you torque early, making it feel more like an NA motor in the way drivability is concerned.
Yeah.
But they have their downfalls. Small turbos bring torque on early. Early torque in certain engines are engine killers. Too
Sure.
much back pressure is robbing your car of all sorts of efficiency in terms of making power, in terms of actually miles per gallon. He could go to a bigger back housing and make a little bit more boost, but flow more air, and the car will run so much better. You know, it's
Hmm.
it's just it's all part of the game, right? It's not like now look, when you sit here and say that 12.9 is more than enough, I chuckle because I went on and I did some, where you can get your theoretical ET and everything. And given perfect conditions, air, traction, etc., the Mustang's theoretical top fastest ET is a 10.3. So I'm going to feel like a chump when I'm excited about being in an 11.3 at Island, right? But like I I mean, ultimate goal if I could get the grip, and I'm not saying add power. It's got more than like grip is way more important now. Like Carroll Shelby said it once, there's no such thing as a car with too much power, just not enough traction. And I'm in the latter part of that at the moment.
Right.
So between the new tires, a new final gear in the differential, and eventually down the road a good set of adjustable coilovers, is the next steps for that car because power is fun and all, but if I can't use it, what's the point, right?
Right.
So like, but no, man, I'm excited to
Exactly.
go down there. Hopefully, Greg and I are going to be a little ambitious, and we're going to try to shoot 2 vlogs while we're there. Hopefully, with the aforementioned friends
Yes.
being there, we have some extra hands to do some filming for us and everything. Um, but
Yes, that would be great.
it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited slash nervous because I'm like, there is a part of me that it's like, all right, we're doing over a hundo in third gear, and
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I was gonna say that like you're not trying to prove anything. So do whatever is in your comfort zone. Your car theoretically is a high tens to mid 11s car in the right hands on ideal conditions with Mickey Thompsons and all this that yada yada yada. Like if you have the ideal everything, including driver mod, your car is like mid tens. The thing is, like, it's your daily driver. It's your only car. And like you're not gunning for like a time here. What you should just use this Friday as is like, okay, I'm feeling the car out. Now I understand like what it does at the strip in whatever gear with whatever power that I'm putting down. Like your first run should be like a quarter to half power max, just to like figure out what's going on. The bringer of dad advice. Yes, accurate statement. I'm also the bringer of not Mustang in the wall advice. But you're right though. But no, I am bringing the dad advice. But am I wrong though?
No, I mean,
Right,
so
exactly.
here's how any track session goes for me. It's first run, get the basics. I learn,
Yeah.
get in and out of the burnout box right, stage correctly, which was an issue last time I was at the track because I'm a doofus. And then I've always been a maintain of not reining speed in, but building to speed.
Yeah.
And so the first run is going to be, you know, see how much power I can get down. Like, it's not going to be not full throttle, but it's going to be as opposed to that.
Yeah. Very progressive.
And see where we go from there. If it's hooking and everything's good, and then we build it up. I mean, case in point, last time we went to the track, I just wanted to do a base run, just go down the track, get back into shifting and stuff, and I didn't do a burnout, and there was schmutz on my tire, and in the 2-3 shift, the car was like, hello!
Yeah.
you know?
Not great.
So it's, we'll see. I'm very excited. Very excited to give it a shot. I am also how to put this? I'm a competitive person, but like I also am the type of person who's like, I want to test myself. Let's see how quick I can go. But it's not going to be a off the truck and be like, it's going to be building to that.
Yeah. That's fine. I think that's the best way to do it. Like, if you had unlimited YouTube funds, like a lot of other creators do, and you could basically just go buy another Mustang tomorrow, this is a whole different conversation. But because we don't have the Emilia Hartford or Tavares budget, this is a much different track opportunity than they do.
No, 100%. Like, it's not. Look, I'm not going to be pushing it to the point where I'm pushing to the point where it's like, all right, if I stay in it, I could get the ET of a lifetime, or I could end up in the wall. Like,
Right. Who needs the ET of a lifetime the first time you're out in your built Mustang?
right.
Zero people.
No, I agree.
Thank you, Doug, for the 100 stars and the unlimited funds.
Um,
Also, every time we've said unlimited funds, Doug has donated 100 stars. I'm seeing a way to make Doug poor. Unlimited Volvos! Doug gives us all his Volvos. Oh, fastest we've ever driven our cars on the road. Good question. Chad?
Five.
5 miles an hour?
No, the fifth. I was trying to do the Chappelle Show thing.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Redacted.
First of all, Antoine, I'm going to need to know what police department you work for before I incriminate myself.
Well, first off, they would actually need video evidence of it to prove it, so we can say I've gone 200 miles an hour on a public road, and no one would ever be able to prove that. So it's the people that put YouTube videos out of them actually doing that, the ones that get arrested.
Be right back, deleting a VOD. A lot. It was in a 997 911 turbo, completely built, pushing about, I think it was at the time like I think the motor did 1100 horsepower or something like that.
Was this Dan's car?
Nah. It was a family member's car. Leave it there.
Okay. Nice.
And it was north of 150.
Whew, nice.
I didn't actually see where we topped out because, well, at that speed, you should be doing this, not this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I saw it at 150, stayed into it for felt like a few seconds. So, very easily could have been knocking on the door at 160 or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It was actually, I won't say where, but it was on fairly fresh pavement too, so it was nice.
Mexico. Mexico has lots of fresh
Yeah,
pavement.
paved by the Chinese.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I will do the same thing, but I'll actually give a number. I've hit my limiter in my Polestar, which is 155. Um, and the only reason I did that was because it was late at night. I was on Route 80. I had 4 lanes to myself, and I'm like, all right, well, let's just go in the middle and pin it. I wonder how fast the cruise control goes up to. So my cruise control goes to 125. And for anyone interested in knowing, and it actually does 125 and holds it there, but it won't go past that. So I'm like, okay, there's a nice little straight here. Let's just hit the limiter. So I just pin it. Takes about 15 more seconds. Hits the limiter, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I back off. So that the fastest I've ever gone is in this car on a public road. Fastest I've ever gone in general was actually in the Cadillac CTS-V at Monticello, because that's a big car, but it is fucking fast. It is stupid fast, and it's so easy to go fast in that thing. Um, Man, like I've driven the Z06 C7 Corvette, but it was a manual, and like I'm not as fast at shifting as like a dual clutch transmission is. Like nobody is. So I had the vet that they brought out that year up to like 140, 145 on the straight. Um, Thanks, Chad. Uh, no kids were in the car. Um, but like the CTSV on the straight at Monticello, I did 165 in,
Yeah, I think it
which
was.
is like crazy. And I'm like, okay, I understand what the blurring effect now means.
Yeah, I think on a. Trying to think of what the fastest I've ever been on track is. It's a lot.
Probably on Monticello, I'd imagine.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, like that GTS Merc AMG, that I know we got up to big speed, especially when we were doing the when we had the race instructors with us.
Yeah.
That I remember, but like, I don't know, man. Like, uh, it's hard to tell track. I mean, it could have been that, could have been the CTSV, it could have been a whole mess of stuff. I wasn't looking at the speedo, you know,
Yeah,
because
there
I
is a
do
certain
have some,
there is a certain speed where you're just like not gonna look down now.
like, because like prior to doing shifting lanes, I actually had, I wouldn't say extensive, but some racing training uh, to where if I wanted to, I think there was a spec 944 class in SCCA that I could have run in that if I was so inclined, or we pushed through with the
That's cool.
project. And like one of the first things they tell you is you you go where you're looking, right? So most people when they're
Yeah.
looking at the apex, they're only looking so far in front of them. You want to be looking beyond the apex and you're carrying through your line of vision and stuff. Like there's a whole theory to it, but like if you look at the apex, you're going to turn harder and you're going to i.e. scrub speed and everything. So like that's one of the
Yeah.
first things is you look where you want to go. And
There's a lot of great F1 videos like that, or if you watch like on the F1 YouTube channel, or if you just search it in YouTube, you can kind of see like where F1 drivers actually look, and they tracked like Bottas a couple of years ago back when he was with Mercedes, and you can kind of tell like where his hands are in position to like his head, and he's like mid corner, and he's not looking like here or here. He's looking like on the next straight. Like he's not even concerned with the corner he's in because he knows where his car is, and he's like way over here, like looking at this, and then like you can see his head like draw back to center. So like that's how racing is. You're not like Chad's right. You're not looking at the apex. You're not looking because you've sighted the apex on the straight coming up. So you've already in your mind know where your braking point is, know where you're turning in. So once you do that, your head is immediately going and your eyes are immediately going way farther right if you're making a right-hand
Mm-hmm.
turn to figure out how you're exiting and what's coming up. Like there might be a crash. There's a straight you need to figure out what's going on and how to exit correctly and things like that. So
Yeah,
it is a 2 second ahead of the game sport.
right. Because I mean, think of it this way: how many football fields are you carrying when you're going 100 miles an hour?
Oh, fucking lot.
You know, how many seconds? You know, but like it was
Sounds
always
like
explained,
one
like when you're,
football field every like second or so or something, and even less.
it's not quite that. It's like every 3 seconds.
Yeah, even
Because
so, like
figure at it if at any
that's
rate,
it's still a lot.
let me put it to you this way: you're traveling 100 yards in
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
So, but it was always explained to me like when you're on the straight, you're finding, you're navigating the straight, whether you have to navigate other cars or what have you. But if it's just you, you're on the straight, and pretty much the second you get on it, that old Jackie Stewart saying of only fully depress the throttle when you know you don't have to lift it off again is
yeah.
kind of what you're going for. Is you're going down once you get onto that straight. If you can see it, you're looking for your braking point. Once you're getting there, you're now looking. You're basically you look to the apex to your exit if you can see the exit. At which point there's visual cues and stuff like that. It's actually really fascinating. I would love to go back and get like more car control training because like I always thought it'd be cool to like someday be like, all right, we got a production crew in this racetrack and we're gonna make some sort of fun drifty Top Gear style review video or something like, and be like, I got it, you know. But Doug over in chat goes, folks act like the speed limit is some sort of moral figure. It's a number set for all cars to safely do. Cars and trucks, you can do things on an open road in a Volvo and be safe well beyond what someone in a Chevette in traffic can do. Well, here's just to piggyback off of that. The speed limit was set at 55 miles an hour because that's the speed the average car back in the day. The stopping distance was, I forget how many feet. Modern cars now can do that pretty much twice the speed. So at 100 miles an hour, a modern car can outbrake a car from 50, 60, 70 years ago at 55 miles an hour. So by that logic, the speed limit on the highway should be 100 miles an hour.
No, no.
I should have the option. I should be able to have a special thing on my windshield that says I took a specialized safety course. Therefore, I get in this left lane and can do whatever the goddamn well speed I want to, as long as it's under a $120.
Oh God, no, no, no. I don't, and it's not you that I don't trust. It's everyone else that doesn't want to drive a car. Those are the people that are the issues, not us. We're the ones that are enthusiasts that would actually be responsible at that speed. That's the problem. Everyone else is just like, oh, I'm gonna be on my phone and I'm gonna not give a shit about my car that I'm driving, even though it's the second largest purchase in my entire life.
Okay, so you ban those people from using interstates.
Oh, that I'm very okay with, which is literally 99% of drivers.
Hey,
You may
get,
now use back roads only. Enjoy.
but they have to pay more in taxes to keep my road up.
I'm also okay with that.
Anthony goes, there will still be a Prius coming up in that left lane at 45 miles an hour. And yes, under my
Ramming
rule,
up the left lane.
that person could face a penalty of up to 18 months in prison.
Oh man.
I Let me put it this way: at no point have I considered a political career, but one of the
Except
corners,
for traffic laws.
Well, one of the cornerstones of my campaign would be centered around just how it is way too easy to obtain and maintain a license in this country compared to others.
Oh, it's so easy.
You need
It's
6 hours
so
with an
easy.
instructor, and then you can drive with a licensed any licensed adult of I forget 25 years of age or more. I think that's
Yeah.
it. That's all the 6 hours.
So this is something that I'm very passionate about, and I guarantee you, no one on this stream, maybe even you, probably not you, remembers the first post I ever did on shiftinglanes.com. The first thing I ever wrote, and it's that every single person that has a license should be lawfully tested every year to maintain it. The end. Because if you look at what Finland does for their drivers and what you have to be or what you have to do to be licensed in Finland, that is what every single country should do. You need like 10 hours on a skid pad for starters
It's
in
years to get
Finland
your
to
license.
learn car control.
You have to go through more training and more red tape to become a certified forklift operator.
Right. It's absurd. Like the amount of people that just are given licenses in this country and others, but mostly this country is just mind-numbing. And
Honestly,
like
I
they
think in the state
literally just give trained monkeys like licenses. It's people that don't give a shit about cars that are just like, I'm gonna be on my phone while my car does the self-driving thing, even though there's no self-driving, but I'm gonna trust it to self-drive, and it's not a self-driving car, but blah 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 blah. Just shut up. You're spending 40 to $50,000 on something. You should have more respect for it. Just period. Just learn how to fucking drive. Deal with it. It's part of life. The end.
Oh no, I mean, I completely, 100% agree. I've always looked at it in this standpoint, and that is, in the state of New Jersey, every 4 years you have to renew your license.
Yes.
I think you should have to pass some form of general safety, general knowledge, general theory of driving test. That's not difficult, but
Yeah.
covers the basis of, you know, to use a racing parlance, like there's no such thing as self-driving cars. When in doubt, throttle out. Uh, you know, keep a
Right.
distance. If you are pissed because you can't see something, slow down. Uh, Safe following distances, like little tiny little stuff like that. Um, Again, to use Anthony's point, I think it was about the Prius doing 45 in the left lane. To me, that is more dangerous than someone doing 15 to 20 miles an hour over the speed limit because they're 20 mile an
Oh,
hours
on an
under it.
interstate, 100% correct.
Like stuff like that. Like you should understand that there's a speed limit, but like I think in a lot of cases in the left lane there should be a speed minimum, and
No, there
you
should be.
should
I
be able
agree.
to. You should. I remember seeing it in some interstates. I haven't seen it recently, but like I've,
Keep going. I'll be right back.
um, you know, like just general common sense, which I know is a stretch for some people in this day and age, but like just simple stuff to where when you drive, you're not a liability, um, and that sort of stuff. Nate, thank you so much for the 500 stars. It's too utilitarian now. Every red light should be a track race. I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily think it should be that. However, I do think like people need to be more aware of their surroundings. You should be paying attention to the traffic light. You should be able to look over into the other lane and realize, they've stopped moving. Maybe my light's going to turn green soon. I should pay attention. And another thing, we have all these smart traffic lights now, and there's so many that are just dim-witted. There's one of the roads I'm on frequently. There's a traffic light that makes no sense. Like it's on a if it feels like it's on a timer based on time of day, as opposed to the ones where the mag. It has the mag strip under. It senses where the cars are, so it knows that it could have easily sent two or three cars making a left turn onto the road and not hindered traffic at all. That's another one of my massive pet peeves. Like the time I spend sitting at a traffic light when just doing something as simple as like going to Wawa or something like that. Um, Doug making some Monty Python references, love it. Doug goes, in the state of New Jersey, you can't be trusted to fill your gas tank. Yes, but I'll take a Jersey driver over almost any other state in this because we are raised in chaos. If you spend a significant amount of time in Jersey driving, you will pretty much be ready for what the rest of the country has to throw at you. Antoine goes, speaking of safety, let's talk safety. Put someone on the spot. Greg, which brand has better safety track record, Volvo or Subaru? Greg's Volvo S60R, the Subaru WRX, WRX STI is just an example. We'll wait for Greg to come back for that. Antoine has a retort to that, I guess. Or Anthony has a retort to Antoine. Too many A's. The Volvo XC90 went a good decade and a half without a fatality in their car. Sounds pretty dang Volvo. Doug goes, mag sensors, and you have a motorcycle. Not fun. Yeah. I mean, I get that, but I mean, there's so much stuff nowadays and things like that, and like, it's annoying as all hell. At for example, 11 o'clock. Let's say when I used to work at the golf course, I'd get stuff for the next day, whether it be a Red Bull, whether it be other stuff. And I'd be sitting at the light to make the left back onto the main drag for minutes. And two cars drive by. It's mind numbing. Anthony has a light that you have to floor it to make it through before it's red again. Yeah, there's a couple like that. Like this light in question, when it does turn green, you have next to no time. It's annoying. But like I said, I think it's generally too easy to have and maintain a driver's license. And too much, I think, because the average person's kind of sucks. But I think too much attention is paid to the speeding side of things. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going 30 over, you deserve whatever penalties out there. That's just, it might be an open road. You might think you have it, but I'm not saying you should be penalized. I'm just saying if you get caught. Two different sides there. But I don't think enough attention is paid to the, we'll say the aggressive driver gets all the blame when the passive drivers don't get nearly enough of it. The people who will drive deliberately under the speed limit. I'm sorry. If you can't obtain the speed limit and you're not in something like a tractor, or you're not you don't have like a load, let's just say you went to Home Depot, you got a bunch of wood and you just want to take it easy. All that is, if you don't have a legit reason for driving that slow and you're just either A, uncomfortable, or B, something, older individuals come to mind with this, but like I've seen young people drive way too passively, and it's just not enough attention is paid to that. I think, again, if you don't feel comfortable going the speed limit, I'm not going to make it. But you should have the common decency to pull over and not hinder traffic. And I do think that if you don't do that, you should be able to get some form of ticket. Because, again, driving slowly can be dangerous. And or you're just being inconvenient for no good reason. And I know, because I heard the sniffles of agreement, that Greg agrees with me. Greg, Antoine had a good question for you.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to hit you with it, and then you're going to be entertaining.
Hit me with it.
There was a follow.
Hit me with it.
Speaking of safety, let's talk safety. Put someone on the spot. Greg, specifically by name. Which brand
Ooh,
has
all
a
right.
better safety track record, Volvo or Subaru? Greg's Volvo V60R or a Subaru WRX WRX STI? I think he meant V60 Polestar, but or what have you. Just as an example, Greg, your
Sure.
thoughts on this particular topic of the moment?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna try to get to that comment. By the way, Nate, thank you for joining as well, and thank you for the 500 stars. Always appreciated, my brother. Also, yes, every red light should be drag racing. I agree. But not really, but yes. So let me just read this. Which brand has better safety track record, Volvo or Subaru? Greg's Volvo V70R or a Subaru WRX STI, just an example. We'll do both. So we'll do my old V70R and then also this, the V60 Polestar. Um, Similar cars in interior volume, different cars outside. The V60 Polestar here, as well as the V70, are probably safer cars just based on car volume overall. The larger the vehicle, modern vehicle, not like 80s Cadillac, which is just tremendously unsafe because older technology, but like modern vehicle, the larger the vehicle, the generally more safe you are in a crash. Escalade versus Civic, the Escalade's going to win. Same applies here, not sort of that large of a delta, but this is going to be a little bit safer in a crash against a WRX because there's just more volume from windshield to front, bigger crumple zone. Um, so in terms of that, the V60 Polestar kind of wins. Even the old V70R wins in that department too, I believe. Uh, but as far as like technology is concerned, Volvo's really always been at the forefront for that. In the terms of like they literally invented the seatbelt and gave up the patent so that everyone else could have it, so that they could be safe and make safer cars for their customers. Um, they were part of they invented, I believe they invented the crumple zone. They also invented with the Volvo 240 a way for the engine to sort of give underneath the passenger department or compartment so that the engine doesn't push into the actual passengers themselves. There's a lot of great safety ingenuity and ingenuitivity, San Diegites, I don't know, ingenuity with Volvo. But that doesn't mean they're the safest car company right now. They still are extremely safe, and buying a Volvo right now means you're going to get a safe car, period. Um, the Tesla Model S has proven that it's one of the safest cars out there in a crash, especially from the NHTSA's testing, where they do like the crushing, the crumple zones, and the overlap test. It's one of the safest, if not the safest. But a great version of this is take a Volvo XC90 and put it up against the BMW X5. The BMW X5 actually performs better in NHTSA testing. So, and better is not like a subjective thing. It's like it's objectively better in certain scenarios. In the small overlap, it did better as far as what pushed into the passenger compartment, airbags going off, crumpling. Like if you go look at the actual scores, it does score better, and it's not by much. It's you're talking like each car got 5 or 4 stars, which is exemplary. But I think Volvo got 4 stars in a couple of areas. Um, Volvo famously roll tests a lot of their stuff at one of their facilities, and there's videos of it all on YouTube. They drop XC40s from cranes just to show how safe they are. But that's part of Volvo's selling point, right? They're also using safety as a selling point. So they are safe, but they're using safety as a reason to buy the car. Whereas W's, they're always like, oh, the ultimate driving machine, but they're also really safe. And most modern cars are very safe. So if you're actually trying to compare certain things, most cars within the same class are gonna be pretty close, depending on what you get. If you're looking at like, so for example, subcompacts, like really small stuff, a Toyota is going to be a bit more safe than a Fiat. If you catch what I'm kind of saying there. Um, the Fiat 500 is not as well built as say like, a Ford Fiesta or Toyota Yaris, that kind of like sizing, right? But going back to your example, this car is definitely safer than the WRX. It feels better built for sure. The interior fit and finish is better. There's almost no rattles in this thing. There's a rattle in the passenger door, but it has to do with speakers. It's not to do with just the passenger door card coming loose, which is a huge issue I had with the WRX. And there's a really funny thing that the WRX community knows. It's called winter mode, where you take a folded up piece of paper and put it on the top of your windshield right here where the windshield meets the actual dashboard. And like it's bad. Like the dash just rattles. And that's not to say that Subarus are not well built, because they are. Like Subarus in crash testing overall have really good ratings. And if you see Subarus in crashes, like their Subaru safety is like a big thing. I think one of their safety marketing campaigns was "They survived" or "They lived," and it was about big, huge crashes in Subarus where passengers survived, and it was Subaru actual owners, getting getting the safety benefit, and then they lived through the massive crash. So it's one of those things where it's really dependent on a couple of different things. Where if you're comparing two cars, not necessarily within the same class, but pretty close, the bigger vehicle probably is going to win, just because the bigger vehicles usually win. And Doug put it really nicely. Crash test
Because
stars are based on
physics.
size. Right, exactly. So crash test stars are based on size. So a five-star B segment versus a five-star SUV is not a fair fight, which is correct. So like I said in the beginning, like an Escalade versus a Civic, who's gonna win? It's like, what's gonna win, a tree or a twig? Like it's
We
that's
established
that
this. The
same
twig is
argument.
better for discipline.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Per our previous and earlier conversation, but the whole too long didn't read of this conversation is Volvo's still really safe. And it's part of the reason why I bought an XC90 at the time for my family, because I know it's one of the best. It was priced appropriately. It's, in my opinion, the at the time was the best looking SUV made, and I still think it's one of the top five, even with other newer ones coming out. I still think my generation of XC90 is one of the best looking SUVs ever made. Um, and it's safe, and that was just bar none why I did that. The WRX is not a an unsafe car, but this is a safer car based on everything I just talked about. So uh, it's good. I like it a lot, and it's safe. So I can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, the Swedes in general take safety
Yeah.
just beyond
Yes.
other companies. Like, I mean, look at what was it, Saab with the 900,
Hmm.
you know, met a safety standard for rally racing without a roll cage, but yet we're still required to have the roll cage. Like
Yeah.
Top Gear did a test where they dropped them on their roofs,
Yep.
and like
Remember that.
the Fiat of the same era just pancaked, and the Saab was
Hmm.
just like,
Right.
so it's woven into their DNA as woven into their DNA and how they engineer vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
And Subaru used Nissan Power Windows for years. I feel like I did not know that. Doug goes, Subaru and Volvo are similar target markets. Just Subaru lacks luxury, and Volvo doesn't have entry level. Um, I mean, maybe. I guess you would know more than we would, as it's your job to know. You might see more people cross shopping Subarus and Volvos than the average human person. Um, so I don't know. Safety.
Wait, where? Who said that? Where was that about? No entry level.
Doug in Facebook chat. He says Subaru and Volvo are similar target markets. Just Subi lacks luxury, and Volvo doesn't have an entry level.
Oh, I see. I mean, yes and no, but Volvo also occupies a space that's not entry level car, but also not pure luxury. Like I would not consider Volvo on the same echelon as a BMW, a Mercedes, or an Audi, but it's also not a topped out Honda Pilot or Hyundai Palisade or that kind of thing. It occupies that gap between both of those companies. Um, so the Volvo entry level, if you even want to call it that, is sort of more the topped out base or below OEM, whereas the topped out Volvo is more towards like a mid level German, if you will. And it's not that cut and dry. Every car is a little bit different, but it's more about like your economy of scale. Like, are you going to be able to afford the Volvo um, entry level, or do you want like a topped out Hyundai Palisade? And in a lot of cases, the Palisade's a better bet in that it offers more than a Volvo entry level. So again, you have to like figure out what your money's worth in that respect.
Right. I mean, it all boils down. And in honor of Steve
Later,
going to
Steve.
bed, good luck tomorrow. It just all boils down to just how moist you want your car to be, and really that's it.
Oh god. And then running the stream, mute. Goodbye. Oh man. Stop with the moist. But yeah, you're right.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like, I've we've had the opportunity doing shifting lanes to sit in a lot of vehicles. I think arguably my favorite interiors were modern Lexuses, but Volvo's a very, very close second. And I would say my favorite would be Lexus, but as far as best, I would say Volvo for the simple fact that Volvo is just simpler, right?
Yeah.
It's not eye catching, but it feels nice. Everything's where you want it. It's the information's clear and concise. It's logically laid out. It's just a very, very good interior. I personal preference like a little bit more contrast, but even so, there's
Yeah.
elegance in that monotone. And
Mm-hmm.
I would put the Volvo interiors up against just about anything from like, okay, so is it like this leather that came from only Portuguese grass fed, but only Kikuya fed, like cows versus Volvo who gets it from Swedish cows who are, I don't know, eating pedestrians. I have no idea. But like, I've never sat in a Volvo and thought this could do with a little more luxury. And I've never sat in something else and be like, wow, this just blows. I mean, sure, it's
Yeah.
probably nicer and more well appointed, but it's not the same. Personally, like I don't know if I only have a certain level of luxury that I want, and anything above and beyond that, it's just excess, or if
Yeah.
it's just more of a like Volvo nails it, man. Like Volvo, they're like some Mercedes interiors might have more bells and whistles and finer materials, but
Hmm.
like some of the newer ones with like the screens for days, that's cool. I dig it, but I also really like the elegance of the Volvo interior.
No, I agree. Actually, Volvo interiors and the elegant simplicity is one of the places that they do win. Um, and in my opinion, it's better than probably both BMW and Mercedes. Audi, I think, probably nails interiors a little better right now, but that's just because they have a bit more simplicity, even with the double screen and like the RS6 and things like that. The rest of the interior, screens aside, is a little bit better than the others. There's not as much going on. It's not as busy. Like in Mercedes has just kind of gone like balls to the wall with their interiors. And it's just like crazy. Um, I don't know. I agree. I think Volvo, even in the luxury segment, that's not a luxury segment. It's better than most.
Right. And I mean, if let me put it this way, like I had what was it? One of the last press cars I did was a Volvo
Sorry.
S60.
Keep going. I'll be right back again. I gotta go check my kid. They keeps crying. Apologies. Be right back.
Get him some rocks. Um, sorry. Short short aside to why that let you on the inside of that joke. We went to Blue Skies open house. Ton of awesome cars. You've seen a lot of our reels were from that of late, especially our late night ones. And all these awesome cars, and Craig's two boys were more interested with the geology of the rocks uh, next to Blue Sky's shop. So that's where that was. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, Volvo interiors. I had an S60. I think it was a T6, whatever the top of the range was. This was a minute ago. And I remember thinking that's if let me put it to you this way: if you gave me a budget, there that word is again. I'm not doing it on purpose, Doug. If you gave me an unlimited budget to put an interior in a custom car that I was building, right? That's what I would go for. Is that simplicity? It's got the big screen, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's got the nice materials, but it's not outlandish. Like good leather is good leather. You don't need to get like the most out. It just needs to be good. You know, soft, supple, durable. Beyond that, you're just paying for what is effectively a leather clad and pardon the hopefully don't get demagged for saying this, but basically at that point it's just a cock extension, meaning like you could just sit there in the bar. It's like, oh, you only have North American cow for leather. Ha, our cows are imported from Argentina and only but like why doesn't make a difference to me. That's why the top range S60 at the time was the T8 Polestar engineered. Yes, it wasn't a T8, but like I know they have like the inscription, the conscription, the I can't even remember how they the trim levels of the different models. Doug will point this out in a moment. But it was the it was the T6 because it was turbocharged and supercharged, but no hybrid. And I remember that car was fun. The only limiting factor to that car, as far as from an enthusiastic driving perspective, was the transmission was slow and dim-witted. It actually made good noises. It was one of the better sounding stock four cylinders. It was a great little car. A better it could have used a better transmission, and then I think would have been more competitive with some of the lower end, as Greg was saying, like from Lexus, etc. Yes, Duggo's inscription gave vented seats, massage for a year or two. T8 would add to the power. Yeah, it definitely, like I said, the T8 at the time was the supercharged, turbocharged hybrid. That was like 400 plus horsepower. This was like 300 and change, and it got up and like I said, it was a fun little car. It was just one of those things where like even an automatic of the day, especially one that's designed to be comfortable, you pull the paddle and then it downshifts. But even on the upshifts, it felt a little slow. And like, look, I understand people. I am a minority in car buyers. Most people like that as far as just a daily thing. Um, but and that's also part of the reason why I kind of don't do reviews anymore. Is that I try to be as like even as possible, as open minded as possible. As look, you're not buying this car, but some consumer is, so you should probably look at it from their perspective. Um, and yeah, that's tough for me. Like, I'm not saying it's such a hard shit, but you know what I mean. But what I mean to say is that it's just I wasn't wired as well as Hanson, let's say, is at doing that. Now that being said, one of the things I would like to do is, just for Shifting Lanes Garage, when the S650 comes out in the press cars, I want to have some time in it to get, because I honestly think I provide the best perspective on Mustang ownership in Shifting Lanes for quite obvious reasons. But no, I would never sit here and say that for all the crossovers and dull cars that Hanson doesn't deserve one of those, the fun car for a week. He absolutely does. It'd just be nice to have a day with it to do sort of a quick review. Doug goes 316 for the T6 without a Polestar tune. Yeah, this was straight OEM. It wasn't for obvious. It was a loaner car. Let's see here. Go to channel. Greg is back. Everyone,
But now we're
contain your excited. Excited? Excitement.
Excited. It's late. We should leave.
But here it is. And I got an ad. Polestar is OEM. You guys are the Volvoists.
What?
No, we were just talking about
what's happening. We're talking about Polestars.
No, we were talking about this. Not my. One of the last reviews I did, which was
right.
This, and like this is what I was saying. This is kind of what I go up like Volvo's, like the interior in your car, very nice, but like this is the interior of the modern Volvo that I spent the most time in. So it was
right.
T6R design.
It's
Doug.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's a much nicer interior. The SPA Volvos are a much nicer interior than the P3s.
I mean,
P3s are nice,
your
but like
interior is very nice. I just literally have never sat in
it. Really? I thought you did.
No,
you have. I drove you back from the drags at Carlisle.
Oh yeah, the 38 seconds I had in that. You literally went 400, like 200 yards.
You have sat in it.
Okay.
Point proven.
Yes. Captain Pedantic has made a valid point that I have sat in it.
Yes. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
It was so memorable I didn't remember it.
All right. But no, it's a nice interior. Don't get me wrong. But like the SPA Volvos are just it's that step above. They're just good.
But it was a sharp-looking car that drove great. Like I said, the only thing that let that thing down was transmission. And
right
again, that's coming from
we were talking about Polestar too,
not a average consumer. And then Doug said something, about the average consumer being wrong and all they want is crossovers. I don't disagree with that, but unfortunately, to do reviews correctly, you have to think like them, and it's a sad, disturbing place. Anthony goes, Chad and Greg should do a car swap. I have been trying to get Greg to do that exact content for, 6 months?
Yes. Yes. It's hard to find time when...
It's hard to do it because that's a 2-dayer. It's a 2-dayer for us. maybe even a three
Yeah, it
dayer
is.
to get the requisite B roll, like all that other sort of stuff. And like, um,
Yeah.
I'd like to see Greg drive a manual car before I let him in the Mustang, just to make sure.
I'm up to snuff.
No, but I mean, so even before I supercharge it, I've been wanting Greg to drive my Mustang. For the simple fact is, we've always had the conversation about the Voodoo on this channel and how I think the Voodoo is an amazing piece of engineering. It's a great look at how clever we are. Look at what we can do. And
Mhm.
but ultimately, from a strictly, if you were to look at it dollars and cents wise, it's unnecessary because the stock Coyote can make 530 horsepower, rev way higher than you
Yeah.
think a V8 should rev, especially an American one, and provide you
Yeah.
98% of the thrill. With, let me put it to you this way: if the Voodoo didn't exist, people would still be in awe of the Coyote for how high it can rev. I mean,
Yeah.
my
I mean, I've driven a Voodoo multiple times, so I know. I know.
right, but what I'm saying is that like I wanted him to drive my car with the uh, a little over 500 crank horsepower in NA trim, and like just
Hmm.
to get that sense of it. Like I would,
Right.
but like I would love to do a vehicle swap, just because I like driving cool cars. Greg, despite what people say about him on
Same.
the internet, he drives a cool car. Um,
Hey, people say I. Some people say I drive a cool car. Not a lot though, but some do.
and Anthony, you're right. Like review each other's cars. I would absolutely um, love to do that. It's just down the road. We have some. Greg has 3 vlogs that he needs to finish and get published.
Yes, I know. I know. I know. It'll probably be out. The first one will probably be out Wednesday. Now, since we
Nice.
did
So
streaming and
you heard
stuff
it here
tonight.
first. For the next 3 Wednesdays, Greg will have a vlog for you.
That's right. That's what I'm shooting
And
for.
then
Next three
I will
Wednesdays.
have at least 2. So in the time those are publishing, I'm sure we could get together. It's just here's the thing, right? If we're gonna swap cars for a bit, Greg has some planning to do. Uh, he has car seats in the back of his car. He drives his kids around. Well, technically, you could put car seats in the back of my car. It does have everything you need to put car seats in, including the
Yeah.
little like clips, the metal clips in the back. Um, Not ideal because his kids. I mean, even with small kids, it's not convenient getting the
Yeah, like
in and out.
we cannot do a full car swap right now. That's not a realistic thing. If I had a second car, yes, absolutely we could. Because I could take my kids to camp or school or whatever, and then I could come home and drive Chad's Mustang around. But the reality of like me giving him my car for more than a couple hours on a day is just not
Right.
something that's going to happen currently. That's the problem. And it's not a problem because it's my kids, which aren't a problem. They're great.
Inconvenient little
But
bastards. Sorry.
that's right. Yeah. How dare they inconvenience my car aspirations? But it's the same thing. If if Chad was in the same scenario, then it's whatever we have time for. So, until I get a second car, which is part of the reason why like vlogs have been slow on my side because this is the only car I can really do vlogs with and it's also my daily driver, but it's also the thing that transports my kids to and from school and camp. And now there's another layer that's going to be added in the fall where my oldest is going to be in kindergarten and my youngest is going to be at daycare, which is not in the same area. It's not far, but it's another logistical thing that we have to kind of worry about. So we'll cross that bridge later this month when that happens. Luckily, the elementary school is literally in my neighborhood. We can walk to it. But how do we get our second kid to daycare in Morristown, which is like 2 towns over? So it's one of those things where we just trying to figure it out. So until I get that second car, then a car swap is kind of like not really in the cards for an extended period of time. But if we planned it out and did like a full Saturday, like we could do it for a full day.
Yeah.
But to do like a true review, like Hanson does on the main channel. You need a car for a few days.
Right.
You
Well,
can't
that's the
just
thing. Like we
do it for 5 hours and be like, oh, I know this car, because like that's not real. No one ever does that, and no one can ever get a sense
for
for a
us,
car
it
in
would be
5 hours.
like a quick impression, and then like there's other stuff. Like, sure, you guys love staring at our faces for 2.5 hours. Um, Most of YouTube
Running
doesn't
cars, Doug.
care and
Running cars.
wants to see the car. So there's stuff like B-roll. There's rolling B like that. To do
Yeah.
one car would either to do both cars we would have to enlist a friend, which I'm sure we could find one. But like we'd have to spend a day doing the impressions and reviews, filming wise, a day
Yeah.
doing B-roll. Like, look, it is 100% something I want to do. I want it done because like I want to see Greg's face when he gets into it and realizes, oh crap, like this is serious. This is serious because like it is
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
visceral
I
experience.
just progressively roll on the power, and it's just like, oh, 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 holy fuck, this thing's nuts. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those.
you know.
I'm also equivalently excited to see Chad put his foot down in my car and be like, not bad.
When does the turbo kick in? No, but
The nice thing about this one is it kicks in quick, which is
well,
good.
small
It's
turbo.
not like a WRX where you're just like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? 80s.
Yeah. Antoine over in chat asks if the Voodoo didn't exist, the supercharged 5.8 from the S197 2014 Shelby GT500 would be in a second generation Shelby GT350.
Probably, yeah.
No, I. Let me put it this way: you
Maybe.
never
I would say
know.
maybe.
Possibly, but I think a much more likely candidate would be. Let me put it to you this way: if you go on Ford Performance and you're looking for a Ford crate motor, you cannot buy a Voodoo. Can't. They don't do it. They never did. They explained it to us as some nonsense about it being an integrated part. I'm sure it is an integrated part of the chassis and everything like that. I just think they looked at it and said, I don't think anyone's going to spend $35,000 on a crate engine. Like, we might sell 12 of these, right? So what they did is the crate engine you can buy that has the the upgraded heads, the upgraded cams, upgraded intake manifolds, intake manifold, all that stuff was the Illuminator. So what I think would have happened is that they had the Coyote. Now, what most people don't realize is that the strongest version of the Coyote was arguably the first version. I'm sorry, the second version was the Coyote that they put in the Boss. So Gen 2,
Oh,
Gen
right.
2 stronger than Gen 1, Gen 3 stronger than Gen 2. But from factory, the most beast mode that you could get was in the Boss 302. So they already had that engine lying around. Better heads, and I'm talking cams, springs, retainers, the whole nine. And they very quickly realized that they could have gotten to 7,500 RPM pretty easily. Also, if they went above and beyond with cams, springs, retainers, etc., there's kits out there that makes the Coyote like I have in mind, rev out to 7,850. And that still would have been the mindfuck RPM of the century because, again, American V8s, nobody really expected it. And getting 520 horsepower, 530 horsepower out of a Coyote when you start. The Voodoo engine had fabricated headers. They were shorties, but they were fabricated headers. They weren't cast. They were literally, and they were matched headers. So equal length, everything. So if you took that and put it on a Coyote, they wouldn't have had to try hard to get to that. And that's why I say the Voodoo, it's a great engineering exercise. And what I think how they got there is if you can't increase torque in an engine, you increase horsepower by adding revs. So like, how do we
Yeah.
get the most revs out of this? And at the time, it was a great marketing campaign. It was a great look how clever Ford is, all this other stuff, because the press it got was insane. And at the time, it was the biggest displacement flat plane V8 in the world, and only only one that's bigger now is the Corvette's Z06's engine. So I mean, look at what they're getting out of the Dark Horse. That's 500 horsepower out of a Coyote.
Yeah.
You know, so I
There you
think
go.
that's where the route they would have taken. The mod motor was an incredible engine. The S, the cool thing about the S197 GT500 was it was the reason. If that car didn't exist, we would not have any Hellcat, any at all, because Ford was the one moving the goalpost with the pony cars and the horsepower and everything like that. And
Yeah, that's true.
the Hellcat was derived by, it was another one of those situations where the engineers in the off hours were like, engineers and mechanics and stuff, like, well, we can build an engine that makes more power than that. Why can't we? And so they built it using parts they had, and they took it to Dodge, be like, let's throw it in a Challenger and a Charger, call it the Hellcat, or the marketeers got involved and everything like that. But like that S197, and don't get me wrong, that 5.8 and the 5.9 that followed it were incredible engines, dual overhead cam engines. They were one of the first sort of obtainable cars you could get that had I'm gonna forget. I don't think it was Inconel, but the liners in there, like that's how they got the extra point .1 displacement. Was they took the liners out and they coated it with this material that made the liners not required, and it was also a less. It was a more, or it had less friction on the source and stuff like that. Like that was a cutting edge engine at the time. It's but like I said, that engine, without it, we do not have the Hellcat. So I think that's a really cool piece of it, and it was like the rekindling of the horsepower wars, which I think is pretty awesome. Let's see here.
True.
Antoine also wants to know, when are you getting the Palisade?
Not sure if we're getting a Palisade anymore. Kate is very much enamored with the Santa Fe.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah, so we may get that depending on when it comes out. It said early 2024, so we'll see.
Let's see here. I'll do chat. Mark takes the low hanging fruit and goes, I bet there's a group about Mustang and ditches. Ha 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 ha. Greg ignores the number of other cars he owns. He does. We actually haven't talked about those in a minute. Maybe we'll do that next week and get an update on the update.
Yeah, that's a next week kind of topic.
Antoine goes, unless Ford decides to come out with an actual Mustang sedan, not that Mach-E trash, then maybe it would have been doable. Rumor has it there might be an S650 Crown Vic.
That would be ridiculous.
It would go against everything Ford and the market is doing.
Yes.
But it would be pretty dang cool.
It would be.
So, at any rate, Greg, I think you have to do family things.
I do, because my kids are not having a good night. So I need to go and dadify the situation, basically. But yes, I think probably a good time to wrap it since it's close to 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if you want to bounce, I'm going to touch on a couple more things in chat and then wrap this up.
Sounds good.
Gents, bye, Greg.
And everyone watching, love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more chat, and I will catch you next time. Later.
Later, Holmes. Justin over in chat goes, good evening, gentlemen. Sorry I'm late. Just wanted to make an appearance. Hope all is well. Hey, man. Late is better than never. That is key. Mark dropped me a link. I will check that in a second. Antoine Tigan, now I'm starting to think that the Dark Horse should have gotten the 5.4 liter Coyote V8 from the Mustang GT4 race car. I'll make you a bet there's a bigger than 5 liter displacement engine coming in some variation. Don't get me wrong, the GT3 car sounds insane with the 5.4 liter. The 5.4 liter is also was jointly developed for the GT3, GT4, and Aussie V8 supercar. That they all share. It's it was all developed for those race series. Um, Let me put it this way: I heard the GT3 car, man, and I want an exhaust that sounds like that. It is the throaty, guttural nation nature of that engine is incredible. I truly, it's one of the best sounding, and it's what an American race car should sound like, in my opinion. Um, Z06, the Corvette C8R is a phenomenal car. That engine is an engineering masterpiece, even if it was copied from Ferrari, just enhanced the 5.5 liters. It's really cool that we can sit here and say, like, look, Europe, it ain't that hard. We can do it. Uh, but there was something romantic about the front engine Corvettes at Le Mans at night, and there was no mistaking which car drove by. Didn't matter what headlights it had. You didn't even need to see it. You knew it was a Corvette, and I loved that. I loved that, I loved hearing the European commentators get a kick out of the sound that engine made. Um, and it's part of the charm of the car that was lost with that engine. Uh, Mustang's bringing it back though, which is freaking awesome. Uh, and Antoine, to your point, I have part of me has kicked around the idea of seeing if I can find an illuminator out there that's slightly used, but I need to finish the Mustang I have before moving on to the next Mustang. The Dark Horse is an interesting concept. It's basically the Mach 1 in different trim. They're already starting to modify parts for it. Like, I got an email from Lethal Performance, the company I buy a lot of my stuff from. And they're already taking orders for a ported Dark Horse manifold with the twin throttle bodies, which is insane. And I'd be very curious to see how that flows, because with twin throttles, you got to move some air. So I'm very interested to see what that is. Not that it would be in any way, shape, or form an application I could use, because I would just go to a big throttle, which is something I've been thinking about. But Anthony goes, pet your cat on my behalf. She might not. Come here. There you go. All right. And then lastly, let's. All right, Anthony. I didn't catch in chat when you were talking about this, but what are we looking at here? It looks like a V70R. This looks like the generation before Greg's. Yep. Let's see if I can find it. Greg, it's on. Anywho, so what are we looking at? It is about $5,000. It is in Fredericksburg, Virginia. All-wheel drive, automatic, mileage a little under 108,000. That's not horrible. Low miles, nice shape, V70R for reasonable money. Where's the price again? I mean, might be worth considering as a winter vehicle for myself. I mean, Or you might want to drop that in Shift Squad so Steve could get the benefit of looking at that. Because I think he needs to be baptized by Volvo. Um, let's see here. What else do we have? One thing that concerns me about this is it's only got 4 pictures, and it's only one picture of the passenger side, right? And then you have passenger side, front, front, rear, nothing for the driver's side. Like I'd like to see the interior. I'd like to all that other sort of stuff. But if it was local to me, absolutely take a look. Options. Marks on it. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I don't really have. Let me put it to you this way: my dreams of having a decent little pickup truck for the winter probably are going to take a pretty big hit in the next month or two. Um, so probably going to be rocking with the Durango. If you guys remember that from last winter, maybe I don't know. Um, See if I could buy that from Court and Lou. But yeah. Anywho, um, that feels as good as any time to call the stream in its entirety. Thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who donated. Um, Thank you to all the comments, etc. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys haven't, and I'm gonna drop it here in chat. Um, Go check out the my vlog from that we just posted a couple days ago. Check it out. See me be an idiot, as I'll explain in the next vlog. If you can make it to the track this Friday, guys, that'd be awesome. I understand some of you live a distance away. Some of you have a trailer that you could just sleep in the parking lot. Just saying. Just totally joking. But yeah, I mean, if the service was there, was it any good? I would love to do a live stream there. Fortunately, it's the middle of God's country and there's no service. So, what have you. But yeah, guys, go check that video out. We'll talk to you soon. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will catch you